Welcome to this virtual Sunday service for San Gabriel Unitarian Universalist Fellowship located in Georgetown, Texas. Our mission is to welcome all, promote personal and spiritual growth, and work for a just, peaceful, and sustainable world. You may learn more about us on our website at www.sangabrieluu.org. And you may find more about Unitarian Universalism at www.uua.org. Today, our guest speaker is a longtime friend of San Gabriel's, the Reverend Chuck Freeman. He has been in the ministry since 1977, serving the Church of Christ and Unitarian Universalist congregations. He is the founding member of the Free Souls congregation in Round Rock, Texas, and he is the founding member, and the executive director of the Texas UU Justice Ministry. Our congregation is a member of that organization and proudly supports it with our donations. You will find information on how to donate on our weekly messenger newsletter and on our website. This description comes from the Free Souls website, and I think it's a good description of our speaker. Chuck is a lively, reflective, down-to-earth man who combines irreverence, compassion, and a playful humor in his life and work. Please enjoy his service, The Legend of Two Wolves, and have a happy Valentine's Day.
All right, this is our chalice lighting. Well, buenos dias, San Gabriel UU. It's great to be with you again, even if I'm sitting here on the same couch I've been preaching all over Texas on. But even though you're a few miles down the road, I cannot wait for the time when we can be together again in person, look in each other's eyes, shake each other's hands, hug each other's necks, and share heart to heart. And I bring greetings to all of our wonderful justice seekers there at San Gabriel UU, and I do know all the beautiful things you're doing, or some of them. You're doing a lot of good stuff I don't even know about. So this is a call and response chalice lighting, so you can just call out from your living room or your den or your kitchen, wherever you are. And the way you'll know you're doing this right is if the dogs howl and the cats run for cover. So the response when I do this is, so we light this chalice. And I'll do it a couple of times. We gather this morning on the border of dictatorship or democracy, on the border of climate change denial or sustainable survival, on the border of demagoguery or decency, on the border of elitist power or we the people power. So we light this chalice. We gather this morning on the border of hope or of despair or hope, on the border of colonialism or pluralism, on the border of trusting medical science or wishful thinking, on the border of life or death. As one voice, we pledge to follow the path of light and liberation. So we light this chalice. opening words this morning are from the Tao Te Ching. We join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable.
Please join me as we say our affirmation together. The doctrine of this church is love. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow in harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Good morning. It's lovely to be with you today, and I am without power, so I am sitting near a sunny window to get as much light as I can and still be with you this morning. And I am very grateful for strong batteries. But I do have the Wonder Box, of course. It's fairly noisy today. I wish I could hear your guesses as to what might be in here. Tell someone near you. And let's use our wondering minds to help one another learn and grow as we open up this box. And it's hard for me to get out. Here it is. It's a smooth stone with a depression in the middle that fits my thumb. And that's a shallow spot, and that's exactly what it's for. That when it's called a worry stone, and when you rub on it, it can help you calm down and feel better. And I've got a story about strong feelings. It's called
When Sophie Gets Angry, Really, Really Angry by Molly Bang. Sophie was busy playing when, my turn, her sister grabbed Gorilla. No, said Sophie. Yes, said her mother. It is her turn now, Sophie. As her sister snatched Gorilla away, Sophie fell over the truck. Oh, is Sophie ever angry now? She kicks, she screams, she wants to smash the world to smithereens. She roars a red, red roar. Sophie is a volcano, ready to explode. And when Sophie gets angry, really, really angry, pa-bam, she runs. She runs and runs and runs until she can't run anymore. Then, for a little while, she cries. Now she sees the rocks, the trees, and ferns. She hears a bird. She comes to the old beech tree. She climbs. She feels the breeze blow her hair. She watches the water and the waves. The wide world comforts her. Sophie feels better now. She climbs back down and heads for home. The house is warm and smells good. Everyone is glad she's home. Everything's back together again. And Sophie isn't angry anymore. The end.
feelings. All feelings are okay, but some feelings like anger or worry or sadness can keep us stuck. And we need help moving through them and into a better place. Not all of us can run outside and climb a tree like Sophie did, but we can try to make good choices that help us feel better. What things do you do to help you process your feelings? We'll talk more about that in RE time today. I'll see you then. Bye-bye.
All right. This is our sermon. I'm going to do it in 3 acts. After The first two acts, I'm going to pause, or after the first act, I'll pause for a brief meditation. And then after Act 2, we'll have a song. I'll explicitly say that at the time. So here we go. The Legend of the Two Wolves. Well, legend is told about a grandfather and his grandson. It was one night, one clear, starry, crisp night around a campfire, and the grandfather began to bare his soul to his grandson, saying, you know, son, there is a battle going on inside of me, and it's represented by two wolves. And one of these wolves is a destructive wolf with anger and bitterness and rage and jealousy and violence. And the other wolf is a redemptive wolf with joy and peace and kindness and patience and faith and love. And the same battle is going inside of you, son, and everybody on the planet. Well, the fire crackled, and there was a pause. And the grandson thought a while, studied on it a while, and he said, well, Granddad, which wolf wins? And the grandfather simply said, the one you feed. Now we're going to take a journey this morning in 3 acts with 3 words that begin in C. So Act 1, Cancer, the destructive wolf. Our American freedom story is rooted in violence. The New England Puritans in 1630 founded their colony on racist ideas almost 2 centuries old. They believed that they were God's chosen, special, superior people, and the New England was their exceptional land. In their Constitution, they legalized the enslavement of captives from just wars, and of course, if you're the chosen special people, then all wars are just, right? And of course, any strangers sold to them as well, it was okay to enslave them. So you can read more about this in the wonderful book, the definitive book on the ideology of racism, stamped from the beginning by Ibram X. Kendi. Now, it was only about a year ago that I found out that slavery was a major cause of the Revolutionary War. It was more than the Boston Tea Party and taxation without representation. In 1772, there was a runaway slave named Somerset, a runaway slave out of Boston. Now, the case was heard in Britain, and the judge said the slave must be freed, that slavery is not consistent with the law. It cannot be legal. So this led to 15,000 slaves being freed in England. Now, when the southern colonies on our shores heard about this, they were fearful, rightfully so, of the implications. And so there began all this wrangling going on about our new republic that was forming. John Adams, by the way, a Unitarian president, promised the South they could maintain slavery. And an early draft of the Declaration of Independence said all men are born equally free and independent. But it was changed in deference to the slave colonies. To all men are created equal, which we know has a whole lot of wiggle room for interpretation, although it shouldn't. You can read more about things of this nature in the book Slave Nation, how slavery united the colonies and sparked the American Revolution. Our revolution is celebrated as a violent movement of the spirit. Let me read to you an excerpt from the Concord Hymn. By the rude bridge that arched the flood, their flag to April's breeze unfurled. Here once the embattled farmer stood and fired the shot heard round the world. Spirit that made those heroes dare to die and leave their children free, bid time and nature gently spare the shaft we raise to them and thee. Now, does anyone know who wrote the Concord Hymn? Well, it may surprise you. One of our Unitarian saints and icons that we're very proud of, Ralph Waldo Emerson. So here we have Emerson saying, the Spirit moved. Heroes gained freedom for their children by warfare, violence, and death. So we have even someone of Emerson's stature aggrandizing the freedom narrative through violence. And we know that the indigenous people of this land experienced a genocide at the hands of the European colonists. They went from 10 million to 300,000 by 1990. You can go out on the Houston Holocaust Museum site and read more about this. Now, before the Civil War, almost 4 million Black people were held as slaves, meaning that for Blacks living in the United States in 1860, there was an 89% chance that they lived in slavery. Now, once we are able to free our minds, open our minds from the miseducation that we have had, and move beyond the propaganda that this has always been, this was a land founded to be a land of the free, or a land of the free and the home of the brave. And then we'll realize that the last 4 years were more the historical norm than an aberration. And it is this freedom story rooted in violence, our founding cancer destructive wolf narrative allowed 138 House members to vote for an electoral coup after our U.S. Capitol was invaded in an attempted violent coup on the Senate and House chamber floors that were evacuated and occupied on January 6th. And at least 5 people were dead and more died through suicide and other ways in the days after. Before we move to Act 2, let's just take a deep breath or so. Now, our second C, Act 2, is current issues. Now, the Texas UU Justice Ministry is organizing our 36-member congregations, of which you are one, and one very active. We're organizing now for the new Texas legislature that started about a month ago. Our congregations voted on 5 priorities: racial justice, environmental justice, healthcare access, economic justice, and voting rights justice. And this dovetails nicely with our new president's 4 overlapping and compounding crises: the COVID-19 pandemic, the resulting economic downturn, climate change, and a national reckoning over racial equality. So we're going to pause now for a song.
We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing. We will not stop singing till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching. We will not stop marching till the world can hear the song, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. Till the world can sing, till the world can sing, till the world can sing along. We will not
So Act 3, cure, is our C word. So we have 3 C's. The first one is cancer, the second is current issues, and the third is cure. And this is the redemptive wolf. Now, our national narrative could have taken a very different path. I want to tell you about Canada. Through a patient, steady disengagement from Britain, it took Canada 80 years to be self-governing still within the British Empire. And 115 years to gain their final independence with their own constitution only in 1982. But not a violent freedom story. A story of steely and constant determination. I'm reminded of a passage in the Tao. Whoever is stiff and inflexible is a disciple of death. Whoever is soft and yielding is a disciple of life. The hard and stiff will be broken. The soft and supple will prevail. And I can see America as the hard and stiff, the disciple of death, and Canada, in this case, and the soft and supple, and ultimately this will prevail. Now allow me to prescribe a Texas 2-step cure with UU roots. First of all, grassroots organizing. Reverend James Billings, who was the Universalist missionary to Texas in the 1890s, said this: organized error, E-R-R-O-R, organized error will outdistance unorganized truth every time. So what we are doing in the Texas UU Justice Ministry is we're not going to fall prey to this. So since 2012, we've been organizing our congregations for organized truth. And our organizing is called to be intentionally anti-racist and anti-oppression in its focus and its engagement. And we are to follow the lead of impacted communities. Let me give you a recent example now. In the state Senate runoffs in Georgia in January, they elected their first ever Black senator, Reverend Raphael Warnock, and a Jewish man named John Ossoff. Now, I don't think, first of all, why did it take so long to have their first Black senator? And that in itself tells us a lot. And I don't think there are very many Jewish people in Georgia. So these were 2 landmark elections. But this is a result of decades of grassroots organizing. I know that Stacey Abrams gets a lot of credit for this, and she deserves a lot, because after the election was stolen from her through voter nullification and disqualification and voter suppression the last time around, she really put her efforts into magnifying these get out the vote efforts. But it was going on long before her, primarily by Black women. And there were record turnouts among Black, Latinx, Asian, and youth voters. If you want to go to The Intercept, they did a wonderful video, about a 25 or 30-minute video about these Black women and the organizing they've done over the years. Now, it is cosmic poetic justice that Reverend Warnock serves as the pastor of Reverend King's former congregation, Ebenezer Baptist Church. He is also the former chair of the New Georgia Project for Voting. And the second cure with our Texas two-step is nonviolent revolutionary love. Now, Reverend Aidan Ballou, another Universalist minister, wrote a book in 1846, which you probably never heard of. You probably never heard of Aidan Ballou, and you probably never heard of this book, but it was a very influential book. 1846, called Christian Non-Resistance. I read it last August at my annual spiritual retreat. Reverend Ballou said this: non-resistance is moral force, moral power, moral strength. It flows from all perfect love. Whether others love or hate, I will love still. I will bless. I will overcome evil with good. Now, Ballou got into correspondence with Tolstoy over in Russia. Tolstoy translated two of his works into Russian and called Reverend Aidan Ballou, the Universalist minister, the greatest American writer. Gandhi was greatly influenced by Tolstoy. And of course, Reverend King was greatly influenced by Gandhi to practice nonviolent revolutionary love in the civil rights movement here in the United States in the 60s. So instead of the shot heard around the world, we have the seed planted around the world. The seed that this obscure Universalist minister wrote in his book goes all the way around the world and lands back in America for a nonviolent liberating movement. Now, we always inquire through the prism of nonviolent revolutionary love on how to engage with the current issues we mentioned earlier. Now, our challenge as Unitarian Universalists is we're not going to be people who are going to try to, through violence, put forth and influence government or people for our ideals, our principles. Our challenge is not to hate those who openly work for tyranny, for dictatorship, and power via electoral and physical violence. I love that Reverend King said, I sure am glad Jesus didn't say, like your enemies. I choose to love. Hate is a burden too great to bear. So intentionally focus on being nurtured in revolutionary, nonviolent love. Read about the great leaders of revolutionary love movements. Study the movements. Immerse yourself in their philosophy, their ideology, their heart, their actions. take pilgrimages to these places where nonviolent revolutionary love was practiced. Like I made several pilgrimages, and I made one just last November back to the Civil Rights Museum in Memphis, just to name one, in the Reverend King's church, in his home, and places like that. You can practice what the Buddhists call loving kindness meditation. You see, because nonviolent revolutionary love is always an inside job. It always starts inside. If you don't have that inside of you, it really doesn't matter what you do or what victories you win for justice. So this nonviolent revolutionary love, it radiates from our heart. It radiates out into our spheres of relationships and influences, even to the whole world and to our opponents. It's vitally important the way we engage our opponents. Now, within 24 hours on January 5 and 6, we graphically witnessed the destructive and the redemptive wolves, one in Georgia and one at our nation's capital. So the question of the young grandson and the reply of the grandfather echoes this morning. Which wolf will win? Well, it's the one you feed. So which wolf will we feed personally and as a country? I want to close with a question that Reverend King posed in his fourth and final book before his assassination. Reverend King aptly poses the spiritual question of our nation and our world's destiny with his title. Where do we go from here? Chaos or community? Amen. So we're going to extinguish our chalice this morning with a few words from our young inaugural poet, Amanda Gorman. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover. In every nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people diverse and beautiful will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. So as we leave this place, although I know we're not really leaving a place, and we may not even leave our home because it's pretty nasty weather out there, but you get the idea. As we go about our business in our lives, I want to implore you, and when's the last time you've been implored? I want to implore you to be true to your spiritual DNA as Unitarian Universalists. Because we are not people who give in to cynicism and despair, but we are people who engage. We engage in society. We engage in our cities, in our culture, in our institutions for positive transformational change. Yeah, it's been imperfect. We haven't always lived up to our ideals and our principles, sometimes very far from it, infected by the American original sins. But yet, we're on a steady, rumbling, rambling, ambling course of an evolutionary faith that is ultimately committed to light and liberation. I don't know how long it will take, but here's what I believe and what I know, that together we will bend Texas and America towards justice. Go in peace to be who you really are. Amen.